Okay, so let's go ahead and do some decibel math. So before we jump into the actual math side of it, we're going to look at these formulae real quick first. So basically, what we use these formula for are to be able to convert between decibels here and then our power unit, which in this case is going to be milliwatts. And so this is going to be the most accurate way to convert. So for instance, if you want to find your decibel number, you take 10 times, right here, the power, or 10 times log base 10, and then times that by your power unit. And for us, that's going to be milliwatts. So it's 10 times log base 10 times your power unit, and that's going to give you your decibels. Then if you already have decibels, this is going to be the formula that you're going to use. It's going to give you your milliwatt figure. So it's 10 to the power of the dB divided by 10. And that's going to give you your milliwatts. So this is the best way to convert back and forth between decibels and your milliwatts or watts or whatever it is that you're converting. However, if you don't have a calculator, and you're probably going to need a calculator if you are using these formulae, there is another way to convert, which is a lot faster, and you don't need a calculator. And it is really just an approximation, but it can be very helpful, and it does get pretty close to the actual numbers. So let's go ahead and look at how to convert without using a calculator, and we can just do that pretty quickly. So let's do an example here. And so I'm going to start out, and we're going to go ahead and convert 30 dB, and we're going to convert this into milliwatts. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to split my number here. Now, the reason I split my number is because what we're going to do with this number right here, so the second number of our decibel, or actually the last number to the right of our decibel, is going to be the first number of our milliwatt conversion. And the first number of our decibel is going to represent the remaining length. And I can't write super well with these tablets, and I spelled remaining wrong. Remaining length of our milliwatt conversion. Okay, so that might sound a little confusing, sounds a little weird. So let's just look at how this works here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the far right number, which is 0, and I'm going to directly convert this from dB into milliwatts. And I'm going to do that using our chart down here. So I can see right here I've got 0 dB, and that converts to 1 milliwatt. So the first number I'm going to write down, is 1. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this number right here. So I've got 3, which means I have 3 remaining numbers in my milliwatt conversion. And because this number right here is just 1, I have no other digits there, so I'm just going to use zeros to fill that in. So that's going to give me 1,000 milliwatts. And we can see over here, if we come over to 30 dB, we can see that 30 dB converts into 1,000 milliwatts. All right, so let's go ahead and look at another example. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and use 25 dB. Let's go with 25 dB, converting into milliwatts. All right, so again, I'm going to split that right down the middle. And I'm going to first go ahead and convert. I'm going to go ahead and convert this number here into milliwatts. So if I come over and I find 5, you'll see that 5 is equal to 3.16. So I've got 3.16. Now, before I write this down, I'm going to look over here and I can see that this number means that I have 2 additional digits that will go, 2 additional digits that are going to go after my first number. So the way I can write this just to start to help me out a little bit is I'm going to write 3 placeholders. I'm just going to draw 3 placeholders here because I know this number is going to go right here. And then I'm going to have 2 additional numbers there and there. So let's see what we can do here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down 3, 1, and 6. And you'll see that I've run out of space. So my conversion is 316 milliwatts. Now I didn't use any zeros there because it just so happened that this number fits in my 3 places here. So 25 dB is approximately 316 milliwatts. All right, let's do one last one, and we'll do a slightly bigger number here. So let's go ahead and go with 108 dB. 108 dB, and let's convert this into milliwatts. Now I'm going to split the number again, and you're going to notice that I split it right here. Now the reason I'm splitting it here is because if I look over at my chart, you'll see here that if I have the largest 2-digit decibel on the chart is 90, and you'll notice that I have 9 zeros here. Okay, so that corresponds to this 9. Therefore, if I go above 9 or 99 dB, I now have 10 zeros or 10 digits after the first number in my conversion. So that's going to mean that I have 10 digits right here plus the 1 digit in the front that's made by this number. So to make this a little easier, and eventually you probably won't have to do this, but I'm just going to draw this out just to make it a little easier. So I know that I've got 10 digits here, and I have 1 digit here. So this, my conversion to milliwatts, is going to be 11 digits long. So I'm just going to draw these out real quick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is convert the 8. Okay, so I'll come over here, look for my 8. I've got 6.31. So I'm going to do 6, 3, and 1. Now I've run out of numbers, so the remaining places, the remaining placeholders, we're going to fill in with zeros. Okay, so there is our milliwatt conversion. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's go ahead and move on and try to do, actually try to convert from milliwatts back into decibels. So let's go ahead and try that now. All right, so let's go ahead and try, let's do 10,000 milliwatts, and let's convert this into dB. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to split my number again, but this time I'm going to split it at the very front. Okay, and this is pretty much the same thing that we did with the other conversion, except we're now doing it in the opposite way. So this first number right here, the very first number, this number right here, this is going to represent the last number of our dB conversion. Last number of the dB conversion, and these numbers right here are going to represent the first number of our dB conversion. First numbers of our dB. Okay, now you'll notice that I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. I've got 4 numbers here, and it doesn't matter if these are zeros or any other number. There's 4 numbers there. So the first number of my dB conversion is going to be 4. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to take this number here and I'm going to convert this directly from milliwatts into dB. So if I come over here and I find 1, or at least as close as I can get to 1 on this chart, and you'll see that I have 1 right here in milliwatts, that's going to convert to 0. Okay, so 1 converts to 0. So what that means is that my decibels, or this second number, is 0. So I've got 40 dB. And you should notice if I come over here, if I've got 10,000 right here, 10,000 milliwatts is going to equal 40 dB. So that converts nicely. Let's go ahead and try one that looks a little different. So let's come up here. Let's do another one. And I'm going to go with just kind of a odd number, 3,146 milliwatts. And let's convert this into dB. So again, first thing I'm going to do is split my number, just like that. And I know I can see here that I've got 3 digits right here. So the first number of my decibel conversion is going to be 3. Then what I want to do, and this is where this is just a little bit different, is I want to look for 3, but I actually want to look for 3.146. And I want to find a number as close as possible on my conversion chart. So I'm going to look over here, 3.146. So you'll see that I've got 3.16 right here. And this number is going to be pretty darn close to 3.146. So what I'm going to do is actually go with that number. I'm going to go with 5 dB, which will give us 35 dB. Now the thing to be careful about here is that this number, 35 dB, is now slightly larger than this number. So it's slightly larger than my original number. Now, if you want to be really accurate, or if you want to make sure you do not exceed this number right here, what you would want to do is probably choose the 4 and go with 34 dB, or maybe 34.5 dB, something like that. But this number should be really close to this number, but it will be slightly larger than it. So that's just an FYI. Hopefully this makes sense. And in the next video that we do, we're going to get into how to do conversions with negative dB. So we'll basically be looking at this side of the chart here. So just tune in for that video. Thank you very much.